You're entering a no judgment zone. The following show is real and raw, and everyone is encouraged to speak their mind. This is the Immigrant Experience, a program we hope will have an impact on the future of newcomer immigrants and Canada at large. An open platform, one that welcomes everybody. This is the Immigrant Experience. And now your hosts, Emmanuel and Ruben.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another interesting episode of the Immigrant Experience Podcast. I'm your host, Emmanuel Dualai-Koko.
And this is Ruben Ashali. Thank you so much. I've just been informed we pretty much broke the milestone.
Oh yeah,
we are at 1,000 subscribers today.
Wow, that's really interesting. That's
2 months, I think.
Wow. That's very interesting. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate all of you for subscribing.
Yeah, for sure.
And liking, yeah.
And of course, for those of you following the episodes online on Facebook and
Instagram,
social media,
yeah, whatever platform you use,
Yeah. Thank you so much, and please share the content, like, comment, and share. Thank you so much. And today's episode, we are again blessed to have an amazing guest here in the room, and she doesn't need an introduction. Amazing young lady doing amazing things in the community, and of course, to me, like she's a community leader. Like you're doing a lot of things in the community. So thank you so much, Raissa, for accepting to talk to us, and welcome to the Immigrant episode.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, it's nice having you here, Raissa.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So maybe first thing first, maybe a quick introduction of who Raissa is, maybe what you do in the community, and things like that.
For sure, yeah. So my name is Raissa Amani. What I am, I'm a student at the University of Ottawa. In terms of my, being an immigrant, I moved here about 10 years ago from Indonesia. So for those who don't know where that is, it's an island in Asia.
Okay.
A bit of what I do, a lot of my work is around mental health, child and youth health, and youth engagement. So that's what what I do, especially within marginalized communities. So that's what I do. I'm involved in grassroots, national, and provincial levels of the different organizations. So yeah, that's a little bit of what I do.
Oh
That's very interesting.
Do you have maybe a motivation toward like your advocacy in youth mental health and children mental health?
Yeah.
Do you have some experiences, or
For sure.
just out of passion?
Yeah, so a bit of my experience. So I personally myself have a diagnosed mental illness. So I have post-traumatic stress disorder and also an anxiety disorder. So that's what I have. And that's an open diagnosis that I open to everyone. So that's what kind of started my advocacy. But also knowing kind of the experiences I've been through as an immigrant, and also what I've seen in the community, right? You see a lot of folks struggling quietly and very silent, right? And that's really important to me because, mental health is something that we should be talking about openly.
Yeah.
And, there's no point in suffering in silence when, there's a lot of things that, that are out there to help you. Well, a lot is a bit of an exaggeration, but it is out there if you want it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But that's something that how I got interested in terms of why I advocate for child and youth health, and especially within the mental health sector. So
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And you touch a very important point there. Mental health within the immigrant community. To us, I remember when the pandemic was starting, I told my mother I wanted to adopt a dog because of the mental health.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've never seen my mother laughing that hard.
Yeah, no.
It's because she's like, are you kidding me? Mental health?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's something that's not spoken, and I didn't really know what I was really going through until I really spoke with someone about it. Someone who had she was a person of immigrant as well. Someone who a person of color, marginalized also. And after speaking and getting to know, it's maybe you do have that, and maybe it's and a lot of these diagnoses, again, they're not clear cut, right? They're not to label you, but again, it's just for you to open those services that are needed, because most of them require not most of them, but some of them do require for you to have a diagnosis, which I personally hate, because if you need help, you just ask for help, and you should be getting help, right? You shouldn't be getting a label about what you've been through, right? So because it's all situational at one point, right? So
Yeah. And do you think what do you think is maybe the reason as to why like most immigrant, or like speaking from the immigrant perspective, we pretty much stay silent even if you're experiencing.
Yeah, so a lot of it, I know it's cultural stigma, right? Where you come from. I mean, from where I'm from, we don't talk about it. So, and I think when I started talking about it, it's because, like, you know, it's more of here, like, we talk about it more openly, and people are not necessarily, like, they're more accepting, but they're understanding of the differences, right? Because what I think now, mental health is like physical health also, right? They go hand in hand, they don't go separate, they're not a separate entity.
Exactly.
So I think a lot of it's cultural stigma, and I think also society is now kind of, you know, realizing that, again, that physical health and mental health, they're basically the same thing, right? Even though they're different by nature, but they are still as important together because they play a role in each other. So.
Yeah, you're very right about that. Because coming from an immigrant community myself, moving to Canada, I had this challenge of realizing how my happy, exciting energy I came with dropped. And I went to the doctor. I went and consulted, and I told the doctor, lately I've been feeling very moody, not so happy. I don't find conversations anymore very engaging and all that. So when I told the doctor all this, the doctor went like, She pulled out a sheet. Which was the assessment sheet for depression and all that. And she made me take this, answer these questions. And when I finished answering them, she told me I had early stages of depression. That was when I was in school. And I laughed because to me, I'm fine. And coming from my community, this is not something we've even talked about before,
no, for sure.
Ever. So when you talk about how this would have an impact on your health, but it's not seen physically. I came to it brought back light to like my experience with me seeing myself being okay. And even when I told my family that I feel like I think I'm like getting depressed or something, they laughed.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that was it. It was a joking thing. They just laughed and said, get out from here with all that. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe they thought it's something else, but then I started seeing how it kept playing out, and you come to realize how it affects youth. So and you throwing light on how it affects your mental health and how it is not viewed. It comes to show a lot why this has to be addressed more, because it's not physical. Right? And I love your point you just made about that.
Yeah, that's amazing. And apart from the motivation toward like advocacy, mental health, maybe run us through how was your experience coming like 10 years ago?
10 years ago.
I know you were under your parents and stuff, but how was the experience?
So I moved here when I was in grade 5 or 6, so like in between. So like I was. I spent a good chunk still back home during my childhood. So I was born there, raised there for a while, and then I moved here. Moving here was interesting, even though I spoke a little bit of English because my parents were very forward and they wanted me to have a good education. And, well, that's why the first place we came here, just to get a better education, right? But speaking very little English was very tough. Learning a new culture was very tough, especially, like, we talk about this like American dream, right? And like, you need to succeed. And I think there was a lot of pressure on that for me, especially just because I was still navigating a new place, new, situations. But I think I was one of the lucky ones where I got really good teacher supports with the ESL. So I was really grateful for that. And it actually landed me, so throughout middle school, got really good grades and excelled academically and socially as well. So that was thanks to the teachers like the ESL, and the extra support. And then in high school, I ended up actually in a program, an international education program here in Ottawa. So it's called the International Baccalaureate Program. I think, not a lot of immigrants are in that, program because a lot of it is, it's academically rigorous. So I was definitely one of the lucky ones that got really good support and, got me where I'm here. So
that's very interesting.
Which school is that?
Colonel Bai.
Oh, Colonel Bai. Okay, okay.
That's very interesting. That brings me on to my question.
Yeah.
Which I have. When you realize that how much impact mental health had on you, and this drove you into doing this, how did you go about knowing that this is what I want to do, and how did you go about it?
Yeah, so I still have a lot of interests, but this is definitely one of my biggest interests that I have. So after I received my diagnosis, getting therapy and whatnot, I started looking in my school because a lot of folks, they put a lot of pressure on themselves.
Yeah.
And that was something that, it was a catalyst to me because, a lot of folks were struggling and they could fit the criteria for anxiety, depression, or whatnot. But themselves, they're still they're not getting help and they feel stigmatized to get help, right? So that what drove me to, advocating for mental health. So I think one of the first things that I started was a mental health council at Colonel Bai at my school.
That's cool.
And then, so after that, I joined the YSB's foundation cabinet. So I was part of that, raising money and also, raising awareness about mental health services for BIPOC youth. So that's one of the biggest things I did back in high school. And then I realized after that, it's grassroots to we impact the community and whatnot. Yeah. But I think it's time that we bring it to the policy level. So I was actually one of the youngest who joined the Knowledge Institute for Child and Youth Mental Health. So that's a research institute. Wow. So they have a youth advisory council. Yeah. A lot of folks are 20 and up, and I was a good old 18-year-old joined. But yeah, we focus a lot on mental health service delivery, how we plan that, approach that, and we evaluate. And also on different policies such as the middle years mental health, because that's very outlooked. A lot of it's earlier and then your adolescence, but middle years sometimes forgotten. So that's what we're focusing on, and also I'm part of a different research that we're doing on marginalized mental health. So
and was that at a university or
no? So
before you even joined university?
Before I joined university.
Wow.
Yes.
That's very interesting.
Very brave. Huh?
Yeah.
What do you think is the main cause of mental health amongst young people? Maybe
mental illness?
Yeah.
So I can't say for sure, but I would say, those maybe life traumas that could happen. I never really liked those labels. I've never did. And I know they're sometimes necessary to get support, but it's not, I don't think it does serve justice to the person because, again, they're very vague criteria. And I think, a lot of folks who get diagnosed are during that one place, one time. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And, I understand the need of it, but at the same time, it's we need to stop putting labels, but not try to get people to understand that, we need to remove the stigma of getting help. Yeah. And also just for them to kind of just, understand that mental health is as important as physical health, right? Yes. We need to, I wouldn't say mental illness is something that you need to get help. It's more of just, it's a fancy label that you don't need. Yeah.
And now that I understand you go to university, right?
Sorry? Yes, I go to university, yeah.
University of Ottawa.
Yeah.
And do you think maybe the experiences you had with the youth council and your involvement in high school pretty much propelled you to what you're doing right now, or? Yeah,
so a lot of the things, I've always been interested in working in health and marginalized because of my early experience of taking care of my grandfather who unfortunately passed away from cancer. So healthcare was something that I wanted to do, but I wasn't really sure where in healthcare because there's a lot of places you can go from, right? Yeah. And then coupling with my, passion with marginalized youth and children and health, so it led me to studying health sciences at the University of Ottawa. As a person who really likes, looking at different angles from the sciences to the social to the anthropological to the psychology behind it. Health science was a good fit because it encompassed all of the, the perspective that I would like to see whenever we're talking about health. So
that's very interesting.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I wanted to ask. I'm aware you've been on some very interesting journeys.
Yes.
Adventures.
Adventures in your quest to help bring awareness on mental health in the community. Can you throw some light or share some of these experiences?
Sure. So I mean, I've always been on conferences presenting and, attending just for my own professional development, but also to, get to know other folks in the community, because I think one of the biggest things that we miss is the connection, right? Because we all kind of doing the same thing, but we want to amplify that, right? But how I got to that, I mean, for me, honestly, it's through connections. And the things that I'm involved in. So one of the things I'm involved in is the Young Canadians Roundtable on Health. So we're a nationwide group of youth who are passionate.
What's that? Can you say that again?
Sorry, Young Canadians Roundtable on Health. So we're a group of youth who are passionate about child and youth health. So we do projects, initiatives, but sometimes we get invited to speak on different events, like with U of T, with some of our partners like Children's Healthcare Canada. So it's a little, novel in that way. But since I'm their executive coordinator, I do get to tend to speak at different events, whether it's be talking about youth engagement or just generally child and youth health in general. But yes, it has led me to some cities around the country. But it's been a very grateful experience and a very interesting experience for sure, talking about things. Oh
yeah, that's amazing. And do you see like a connection between those these events and your career development for the future? Or?
100%. I think for me personally, where I want to get to, I'm not really quite sure yet, but it's definitely within the child and youth health space. And connection is very important. 100%. It's very important for you to get new opportunities, new projects that you could be a part of. So these conferences allowed me to get to know the folks behind the people that I've been emailing and, put a name to a face in like different projects that I'm in. So,
that's amazing. And we had a guest sometimes back here, and she was talking on like emphasizing on the importance of networking. Like you like social media, especially LinkedIn, can enable you to like send a lot of emails or a lot of messages. But at least meeting those people like pretty much promotes those connections. Enable even to, you never know, someone can be thinking of you 10 years from here. And it's amazing, man.
So what was your last event, like the conference you had or you attended?
So my last event, so I went to Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
That's far.
It's in the middle of the prairies. So I presented on behalf of the Young Canadians Roundtable on Health. So I talked about youth engagement and because I do a lot of research with my work at the Knowledge Institute and also with the YCRH. I talk how research can be used to generate more power with the advocacy work you're doing. So it's something that not a lot of people think about because, we talk about social media campaigns and all that stuff. And yes, you reach some people, but, where we really want to hit is folks who are up top, right? And a lot of folks up top, they want policy papers, they want research papers. So I was talking about how you can use some of your research coupled with your campaigns to elevate your the way that you're campaigning.
And do you guys have like an in-house policy suggestion to the federal government or?
So we don't directly work with MPs because we're nonpartisan. So we do provide kind of like policy briefs and opinion editorials and whatnot and papers that we do submit. But a lot of it is nonpartisan work.
That's very interesting. In your efforts to combat or create awareness of mental health amongst youth, what are some barriers you guys have encountered, like some challenges you guys face in this meetings or this?
So I think the biggest thing is that getting to the youth where they are, right?
Getting to the youth where they are.
Because I think reflecting on kind of my work with the Knowledge Institute, because that's very mental health, and we talk a lot about like we need more diversity, we need more representation, right? But if you really think about it, it's really hard to get to the people who we want to talk about because they have certain X, Y, Z that they can't participate in, right? Because of the things like job, school, or whatever, whatnot, right? And that's like the biggest challenge that we have, right? Because I'm very privileged that I'm able to talk about, you know, what I've been through, what my experience been like, and also what my thoughts are. But maybe folks who are, you know, what we're trying to get, they're afraid of maybe persecution. They're afraid from stigma from the community, right? So we have to keep that in mind whenever, you know, we're trying to get more diversity or representation when it comes to mental health.
Yeah, you touch a very good point with regard to first generation the immigrants. Like you find a youth is also like having parental responsibilities at home. Maybe that the firstborn, like the first and the secondborn, pretty much taking care of the other siblings. So they're pretty much left behind. Like even volunteering, being engaged in the community, becomes pretty much a privilege.
It's a big privilege,
and not everyone can participate.
And it's something that, you know, we're trying to remove very hard whenever we're doing our work. Is that providing honorariums for the time, because time is money, right? And, you know, it's hard to, unfortunately, engage youth who we want to meet without money. So
that's very interesting. Do you have any like personal experience or story you can share with us from your encounter from this seminar, like with meeting youth, or some personal experience which you think impacted you from just doing what you do?
I mean, so if we're talking about like trying to get youth involved or getting more, you know, energized, for example, I think it's hard too because we've been virtual for so long, right? Like it's been 2.5 3 years now. It's like I can't believe I'm saying that. Almost two and a half years, right? And I think it's really hard because like I do want representation. Like with one of the projects I'm leading, I'm trying to get youth perspective on COVID and how they've been throughout the whole COVID pandemic and how their resilience has been, right? And it's so hard to get youth on board without money. And it's
funding.
And funding is hard too because, you know, if you're not a research institution, you can't apply to some of the government grants. So what was I going to say? Like that's been hard because I also want to include rural youth, but like if we don't have the connections, where are we going to go, right?
Where are we starting?
Where are we starting?
Or the funding.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to also involve like indigenous youth. But unfortunately, every single of those indigenous organizations are so busy with their own work. And it's really hard to, you know, establish something and getting that rolling. And that's something like, you know, that's some of the struggles I've seen with my work so far. So,
Away from the conferences you guys organize on the seminars which you go out and speak, are there other activities that are out there or you guys have plans of carrying out some other activities which might help create awareness about this or engage youth so it reduces this in the community?
I mean, we are trying as much as we can because, you know, a lot of these youths, I mean, if we're talking about those who live in remote communities, we don't even know if they have internet. Right? We don't even know. You know, we can try using social media. We can try using kind of like going through the communities and word of mouth. But, you know, it's always hard because we don't know truly where does it end, right? Or where does it truly reach? And, you know, we're trying really hard to meet to those who are not like we're meeting, right? But at the end, we don't know who we're reaching or where it ends, right? Or like at what community or at what organization. So.
And do you think maybe this hard to reach youth pretty much at the ones like needing the services?
So I mean that's what we hope for, right? And that's what the goal is. We're trying to reach them where they are, but we don't know where. We don't know, unfortunately, where. I mean, we're trying different avenues like schools, like social media, word of mouth, organizations, and whatnot, but we don't know. We don't know if they're even connected to one of those things, right? And
with regard to like youth engagement in the community. Have you guys maybe with respect to rural communities? Have you guys maybe tried to like travel to from rural areas and try to do recruitment from there.
So that's something that we're thinking of, but it's also very costly, right?
Yeah, it is costly.
It's very costly.
Yeah.
And then also we have to keep in mind, right, if we were going to those rural communities, and especially if we're going to indigenous communities, would that be disrespectful? Right? Would that seem that we're it seems like it's a colonial act?
We don't want to do that. So that's something that we're still thinking of, just to make sure that, we're not upsetting anyone if we were to come to these communities. So, yeah.
And I really love what you're doing with regard to like youth engagement and the advocacy and the round table. I always, I don't know how hard I should emphasize this, especially to immigrants and newcomer youth.
Yeah.
Like you need to be involved as much as possible. You need to be involved with other youth doing things like whatever you're doing. One, it you said it benefits your career development, and the other thing, it also benefits your connections and networking in the community. But again, I don't know how to emphasize this, but most, especially immigrant youth, are always left behind.
Yes.
I think personally that's something to do with our cultural upbringing and the approach to things. Because generally, even when I came here, I went to Algonquin College when I came, and I could tell the immigrants from the Canadians by their pace.
Right.
Yeah, the immigrants, like those who the JJC, Johnny Just Comes.
Yeah.
Like me, we're taking all our time. But the Canadians, like those who were here, were going so quick. And you could literally tell that, oh my God, where are they running to? And literally they're going to the same class with you. But the pace they use, you literally feel like, oh, I'm wasting my time. Yeah, and no one needs to tell you that. Yeah, so I think you have to do something, but as it goes on, I think true. If you're educated and if you're in school and all that, it helps you change that perspective if you're focused in the right way. Yeah,
sure.
And that could change. But I think it has a big thing to do with how immigrants just generally are raised. It's a very laissez-faire way of doing things. Very little planning goes into lots of things. So because if with regard to advocacy and stuff, it's almost difficult finding immigrants youth involve themselves in those things. Yeah. Which again benefits their career development. Yeah. So maybe your advice to high school kids looking forward to graduate, going to university. Yeah, other immigrant kids. Or other immigrant youth and children coming to the country 2 weeks or 3 months ago. What's your advice to that population?
That's a big question. And I think for me what really got me into where I am with my advocacy is following your passions, following what you're like. It's easier for you to continue what you like and, continue where you want to go if you know what you like. And I think that's hard because it takes time for you to kind of know what you want to even do. Especially for high schoolers. I'm thinking about high schoolers anyway. But if we're talking about, those who are just coming in, I think don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to try and don't say no.
Don't be afraid to try. I think I really love that. What you just said there.
Don't be afraid. Yeah, just don't say no. Say yes to opportunities, but keep in mind of your mental health, right? Keep in mind of your capacity and how much you have on your plate. But I remember I remember saying no to a couple of things that now I regret saying no to. And those are some really cool opportunities that I wish I could have said yes to. Yeah. But I said no because I was scared that they wouldn't take me full value because I'm an immigrant, right? Or they would just not value who I am. But I think also another thing is whenever you're coming to these spaces, just be yourself. Just be who you are. You have a whole life ahead of you. You also you have so much experience that could be valued. And I think a lot of things now are starting to value the fact that you're an immigrant or you have those boxes that you tick sometimes.
Yeah.
Like I sometimes even kind of hate the fact that I'm ticking them because like they make me different.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of folks now are starting to realize being different, that it's okay. It's okay being different.
Yeah, it is.
It's okay.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Just be you. Just be who you are. Be true to yourself and you'll be fine.
That's really interesting. Yeah, I'd like to ask you this.
Sure.
What's something you're most grateful for so far being here and having all these experiences?
Yeah, so
you've had?
The most grateful thing I think is just good mentors. I've had really good mentors and those who just took me under their arms as if I'm like who I am.
Yeah.
Didn't ask me to change anything. Just believe me who I am, and here we are.
Yeah. And they give you a chance.
Yeah, they give me a chance. Exactly. And they know where my limits are. They know, what I need to develop. They know what my strengths are. So, that's what I've been really grateful for.
That's really interesting, and I think I love that. So, guys, you heard it. You got to look for good mentors who can help you, guide you towards the right path.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really good. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Raissa.
no worries.
I think I've learned so much from this conversation, and you inspire us, and I'm sure the kids, to the people who are going to listen to this episode, I'm sure they'll be inspired with.
Do you have any upcoming conferences or seminars?
So I am going to Charlottetown for mental health promotion, so I won't be presenting, but I'll be there too.
Oh, when is that?
End of August. So, I'm going to just learn, kind of more about mental health promotion. I mean, like, that's something that I've been interested in. And also kind of spread the word in terms of, like, what YCRH is doing and, also what I'm interested in connecting with folks. So
that's very interesting. Yeah. Active Newcomer youths are actually very big on promoting mental health amongst the immigrant community through different sports, activities, and other things we run. So it would be nice to have you come sometime and join us, share.
For sure. I'll be delighted. Be delighted.
Yeah, that would be great to have you join us. Yeah.
Very formal invitation here.
Yeah. It is. It is a very formal invitation. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Raissa,
no problem.
talking to us, and
my pleasure.
And of course, thank you for the great work you're doing in the community. And I'm 100% sure, like, you're going toward the right direction. And,
I hope so. That's all I can hope for.
Yeah, for sure. It's really nice talking to you, and I think I've learned so much from all what you've shared today.
Thank you.
And myself personally, I keep growing. And in life, that's all we do. We learn from everyone. And I think I've learned a lot from you today about mental health awareness.
Yeah.
And for those, of course, listening this episode on Spotify, thank you so much. And please subscribe, download the episodes, and share with your friends and families.
Yeah.
And for those watching on YouTube.
On YouTube as well, you can please subscribe. I want to personally, first of all, thank everyone for subscribing, for being a part of our channel. We have 1,000 subscribers. Yay! Thank you guys very much. We're all very grateful. And it can only get better from here. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, please subscribe. Keep subscribing, like, share. And only great things are coming.
For sure. Thank you so much. And see you next week. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Immigrant Experience, a program we hope will have an impact on the future of newcomer immigrants and Canada at large. We hope you enjoyed the show, and if you did, make sure to subscribe, like, and share. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, hook up with us on Instagram at Anyo_2021. #The Immigrant Experience. See you guys next time.